So we have Dr. Mundey already here. She's ready to do today's presentation. And I am going to hand the mic over to her. If you could turn your TVs off, please do so. We do appreciate that very much. Dr. Mundey, are you there?
I am. I would recommend, because Alex just ended his program, that we take a 5-minute comfort break. Anybody who needs to take a comfort break, do that now whilst I figure out how to get on this Zoom and get my presentation going. Okay?
Oh,
So,
Hi, Dr.
yes.
Mundey. I can
Hi,
help
Dr.
you with that.
Mundey.
okay, hi, Alex.
I saw you were on
Yeah.
for a while. So I hope this was up to your standards, because I know you do such a great job.
Well, gee, it does open up a whole lot of questions, and it does take, I'm glad to hear you say, one of the things I would mention is that I heard someone say, hey, doctors don't get any training in, nutrition. That's not so. In fact, our very first year in medical school, we have to take biochemistry. That's where I learned all about vitamins and minerals and got tested on it, because we have to understand how those things, lack of it or too much of it, affects the body and causes medical conditions. So they start us off in the first year of school. Now, what we don't get is an in-depth. We get the basics, but we don't get that in-depth treatment. The treatment part. We know we do the evaluation, but we don't get the treatment part that you get from a nutritionist, because they take a deep dive into that area. So that's a little bit, but believe me, we couldn't provide proper care if we didn't get trained in understanding vitamins and minerals and how it works in the body and what damage it can do and what benefit it can do to the body. So thank you, whoever brought that up. Thanks for bringing that up. I think that was important. Taking things back. You can go to nutritionists, then take that information back to your primary care doctor or your healthcare team. Sometimes it's just a nurse, and have them look it up and see if it's okay for you.
That's
to
right.
I remember taking organic chemistry in school, Dr. Mundey. That was a whole beast altogether. So I can only imagine what in metals, how deep dive into it. Because again, I was thinking of being a doctor when I was younger. So I watched all the medical shows and stuff. So that's kind of where I get a little bit of my little jack of all trades, little knowledge and such. So I know you went way more in depth, but it's always fun just to go back to what I learned before and how to present it. So I really appreciate those words.
You just
all the things that I remember from my first year in biochemistry, they drummed into us the fat soluble vitamins.
Yes.
If patients take too much of it, it can do them harm. A, D, as in David, E, and K. And I will repeat that all my life, through my whole professional life. I always think about those vitamins and to make sure my patients are not taking too much of it, because it can be toxic to the body.
Yeah.
All right. Let me figure out here. Let's see. I'm co-host now.
Yes, you are. So the next thing you want to do, you have your slides up. You have it ready?
I have it ready.
So the next thing you want to do is green. Yep, green.
Oh, let's see. What did I do? Okay, let me see if I got the right one. No, I didn't.
Yeah, food safety for older adults. You got it. You're sharing your screen. That's the topic you're covering today. I don't know.
I'm looking to see why can't I see it. Okay.
You got it.
Well, thank you, everybody. You have a wonderful day.
And before you go, Alex, I thought you were just brilliant. I had no idea that you were going for pre-med. I just thought you were just brilliant. You just let the cat out of the bag. The secret.
I appreciate that, Teresa. Thank you so much.
All right. I'm going to go back out and come back in because I can't see the presentation. So I'm not sure where I'm missing.
Let me help you. Let me help you. Don't panic. Let me help you. So I think what you need to do is unshare at this point.
Okay,
Stop
unshare,
sharing.
stop share.
Stop sharing.
Okay,
Now, at this point, I want you now to not put you have on one screen, you're working with two screens or one screen?
two screens.
Right, on one screen, just have the slide. Don't put it in a show yet. Just put it in slide. Just show the slides. Not the show, but just the slides there. Am I making sense? In other words, you're not changing it into a slideshow yet. You just have the slides on one screen.
Okay, this one.
Okay, now before you change it into a slideshow, you want to just share your screen now, and then I'll guide you from there. Go ahead and share your screen.
Okay, I'm looking to see where is that. Right here?
Hit you see the green, you see the toolbar that says share your screen?
Let me see, I'm looking for taskbar. Why can't I see it on, oh, wait a minute, I have to open Zoom. Now
Okay,
I can,
out of Zoom, yeah, okay.
but I don't see share screen.
You don't see your Zoom toolbar? Well, tap on
Okay,
your.
I see it now. I see it. I got it.
That's okay. Now, share screen.
But which one? That's, I mean, I've got so
No,
many
it
of
should
them
be the only
open
one in green. It should be in green, the only icon in green.
in green. Okay.
On the toolbar, the Zoom toolbar. You
Oh,
know
I
this-
already
No,
pressed-
when you
already-
tap on that, Teresa, it gives you different screens that you can choose to share. So do you
Oh,
see?
she's
Do you
already
see?
passed? I wanted
Yeah.
her not to be sharing yet, but okay, so she's
Yeah,
past
no.
that.
She's choosing which screen she's wants to
Okay,
share.
so
So
go ahead and
do you?
change this, find the screen
Yeah.
you want, select the
Yeah.
one you.
Do you see the presentation in one of them, Dr. Mundey?
I'm seeing it on 4 of them.
Oh, well, choose
Oh.
any one. Choose one.
Yeah, and let's just see if it works.
That means
Let me
you've got it
see.
opened up about 4 times. So choose one.
Okay. Can you
Okay.
see it?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can see.
Now-
Yeah,
Okay,
we
now
see,
I'm good.
Yeah,
Now
you're
you
good
I'm
now.
Thank you.
No
Okay.
problem, Dr. Mundey.
All right. We're on. Let me. So is everybody back from break? Can you hear me? No? Teresa, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
All right.
But your volume is on the low side, so I'm wondering why.
Yeah, I'm looking to see where can I.
If you
Yeah,
can,
you tapped on the video, the camera icon. Try tapping it again, so that way you can.
I'm looking to see.
or you can
So-
up the volume on your actual keyboard.
Yeah, I'm looking to see. where the volume is on keyboard. Oh, I see it. That's all. Okay, can you hear me now?
We
Yeah.
can.
Yeah,
Okay.
you're just in the background, Miss Dr. Mundey. Try again. You hit the video icon. You see the 3 dots. I'm not sure why that looked like that's on. That might be affecting your audio. So to the left, hit the camera icon again. So on the left-hand side, right, left of the 3 dots, to the two over. So if you look at 2 over,
To this
So-
one?
no, then the next one after that. So to the right.
To the right.
Yeah. So make sure that's off. So that could be your main audio. And then tap on the left hand, tap on the left hand icon again so you can see your slides. So move 3 buttons to the left. Yep.
So we're good?
Yeah, we can hear you. So again, just use the arrow buttons below that to navigate between your presentation.
All right, sounds good. All right. Okay, well, welcome back. You're getting learning a lot today about nutrition, and I hear all the conversation on the previous session that Alex hosted. That you all actually, some of you have a very, very good knowledge about what you're putting in your bodies. That's a great thing, because because the more we know about that, the better we can keep ourselves in the health and we can be fine.
Okay, Dr.
Dr. Mundey, I was just gonna say, we can't hear
Cool.
her very well.
I'll handle it. I'll handle it. Dr. Mundey, you are echoing. Do you have two devices going?
I have one monitor and two.
It seems like you've got two devices going.
Okay, let me try this. Now.
Do you have did you log in twice to Zoom?
Yeah, I know of, but why don't I just go back out and try again?
Yeah, log out and come back in again because something is wrong with your voice. It's echoing. So just going out and I'll keep things going for you to log back in. Yeah.
Mhm.
Log all the way out because we don't know what it is that's causing the echo. And then I'll look for you and make you a co-host once I see you in. And you guys could take a breather because you've been
No.
on.
Teresa,
In the
can
meantime,
I say something, Teresa?
Yes.
Alex, he has just shared some more information that we did not know about him. That's why we love him so much. And that's why I keep stressing to the group to put it in writing, send it to DACO, send it to WildTech. Let him know how much we appreciate what he does.
Yes.
I
yes,
think that would be
yes.
more effective, even though we tell him all the time, but it would be more effective if they know it.
Yep. You're
Amen.
right.
Okay,
Yes. That's
will
all I
do, Brenda.
Hey,
Will
Jen.
do, Brenda.
And,
Great advice, Brenda, great advice.
Great,
Yes.
And
great
I also
advice,
wanted to
Brenda.
say that we got to see, Bridget and I looked at Miss Georgia Green's funeral. And it was very simple but sweet and to the point. And it was beautiful. So you can go on Google and Google it and you can see it.
Okay, so if you can be quiet for a little while, let me help Dr. Mundey. She's back on. I just made you co-host, Dr. Mundey. If you can unmute your device. Okay, now I see you're back on. All right,
This is the only one that I have up on my.
okay,
screen.
and you're doing wonderful. You're doing good. You can teach from here. I'm hearing you
Okay.
clearly. You can
Okay,
go through slide by slide from here.
okay, all right, this will work.
This will work. Mhm. Everyone is seeing, right? Am I correct? We're all seeing?
Yes.
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 Yes. Yes.
All right, so let's move because this is pretty detailed, but it's a topic that I think we all ought to be aware of. When I put this together and did the research, I was really surprised about what I learned myself. And so hopefully you'll have the same information and as you learn how we really can safer. And I think the bottom line with all of this is that don't forget, we're trying to eat more naturally. We're trying to stay away from pesticides. So we're eating a lot of organic food. Well, guess what? That really exposes us to more bacteria and more poisons because the food is, you see where our food is being grown. And the food is grown, if the sanitation is not good, bacteria grows, especially if we eat organic. So it's kind of, I hate to use the term, but damn if you do, damn if you don't kind of situation that we're in. That we want to eat healthier. We don't want the pesticides because it's giving us cancer and other diseases, but at the same time, it now exposes us to a lot of infections, or as we call it, food poisoning. That's how we call that. So what you see here is the usual disclaimer. Why aren't we moving on? Here we go.
You got it?
We got it, yeah. So just make sure as usual that you talk to your doctor if you want to adopt any of the things that we've been talking about in your nutrition. So let's talk about why should we even bother about food safety, and why, especially in our age where we are now as an older adult, why should we even especially be concerned about food safety? One is we basically want to reduce getting sick because our bodies really are not at the point where it was when we were young and when our immune system was great. If we look at the fact, I'm still hearing a lot of echo. I'm not quite sure why. Are you all okay?
Yeah, it's you're sounding okay at this point. I'll let you know if it gets worse.
Yes.
Okay, all right. So let's learn a little bit about why we worry about food safety. The facts bear out for itself. Right now, can you believe that 1 out of every 6 person in the United States have suffered from some kind of foodborne illness or food poisoning? That's significant. Out of that number, we have over 100,000 people who are being put in the hospital because they have to recover and get medication that have to be given through their veins or through their muscles. They're not able to recover from the food poisoning at home. A lot of the food poisoning are it runs through the body and our body immune system attacks it, and it usually will go out of our body and we become natural again and feeling normal. But over 100,000 people end up in the hospital needing more hospital care. And then out of that number, about 3,000 people every year in the United States will die from some kind of foodborne illness. I don't know if you keep up with the news, but I know just recently I read that Listeria, which is a bacteria that causes foodborne illness or food poisoning, they have had episodes of that bacteria, Listeria bacteria, all over the United States, and the most recent one was in Seattle, Washington. So, food poisoning is real and it exists. So why is it that we older adults are more prone to foodborne illnesses? Right around where we are now, all of us are either 60 or older. Beginning at that age, our ability to fight infections, that is a responsibility of the immune system that we are born with, it begins to decline. Like everything else, if we're fortunate enough to live older, a lot of things that in our bodies begin to decline. The digestive system, that's your food pipe. That's what I call it, your food pipe or your plumbing system that begins from your mouth all the way down to your rectum. That digestive system, it keeps food longer because why? It's slowed down. Everything in our body slowly slows down, including that food pipe that we put our foods in our mouth and that works its way all through our intestines and out. That means that bacteria can grow more because we're not able to clear that stuff out of our bodies faster as we used to be able to. So bacteria will begin to grow in her stomach and stay there longer. Sometimes our stomach, because of getting older and the cells are old, they don't produce enough acid to even digest and kill and control the number of bacteria that we actually have in our body that's good bacteria, and they can overgrow and cause us to be sick. Some of us have problems with our liver and kidneys due to some medical conditions we have. And if that's not functioning properly, and as we get older, they may not function like they used to, then it's hard to get rid of toxins, poisons that come out of the bacteria and the food that we eat. And then, of course, a lot of us have some medical conditions. And I have had gone through the year that I've survived cancer, and my body is not as strong as it used to be. So a lot of us have difficulty because of that. So I want you to remember, if you remember nothing else that we talk about today, I want you to remember the 4 things that we can do, the action we can take to reduce food poisoning or foodborne illnesses. And those 4 things are clean, separate, cook, and chill. And I was talking to myself, saying, gee, how can I remember this? Well, 3 of them begin with C: clean, cook, chill, and then there's an S. So clean, separate, cook, and chill. Now let's see what that means. And we're going to look at the first one. What do we mean by clean? We got to make sure that we wash our hands, the utensils and cookware that we use, and make sure that the surfaces where we cook, that we do that often. Now I know that everybody's trying to say, especially since COVID, they're selling us a lot of different types of soap and water, different type of antibacterial soap. And believe me, I, like everybody else, panicked when COVID-19 came. But the truth is, using just plain soap and water, so you don't have to go to a lot of extra expense. Using plain soap and water is all you need to wash your hands. Make sure when you wash your hands that you're scrubbing the back of your hands. And this is how I do that kind of motion on both sides. And then I make sure I get in between my fingers and my nails. And nobody has a nail thing to clean their nails every time you wash your hands. So I just use one nail over the other. And that's how I try to do the best I can to clean my nails. You got to do it for about 20 seconds. Now, who remembers they say, once a man, twice a child? I remember my grandmother saying that to me. And when you do this, we can use some of the things that we learned when we were kids, or we hear it from our grandkids. We can learn, just sing the happy birthday song and do it twice from beginning to end. So that accounts for about 20 seconds when you wash your hands. When you rinse your hands, you want to use a clean towel. Now, I went out and got a lot of towels, cloth towels, because I got tired of, paying a lot for paper towels and using them like crazy. But I would say the best way, best practice is get some cheap disposable paper towels. This way you don't have to worry about, is that dirty, isn't it, that kind of thing. Use a cheap, because you're going to just use it once and throw it away. Now, the Centers for Disease Control, who's our big cheese in Atlanta, who tells us, keeps us informed about different diseases and how to control and prevent those diseases, they have always said to us, soap and water is the best way to wash your hands and to get rid of bacteria. However, if you don't have access to soap and water because you're out and about, then that's when you want to use that hand sanitizer that we've been told to use during COVID-19. So soap and water is the best practice. If not, carry some hand sanitizers in your bag. They have to be at least have 60% alcohol to be effective and to help you from getting sick. So keep those hand sanitizers and just follow the instructions that are written on the hand sanitizer. Normally, what is required when you use the hand sanitizer, just a little bit, not a whole lot like you would use soap and water, a little bit in the palm of your hands, and then go through the same motion that you would do as if you had soap and water. And it doesn't take effect until your hands are dry. So I usually just shake my hands like this so that my hands can get dry. Now I'm ready to move on. Now, when do we wash our hands? And that's important. And there's a whole laundry list of when we should wash our hands. The main one is we should wash our hands if it looks dirty. Beyond that, there's sometimes when you really want to make sure we're washing our hands. Before and after, I separated it in two lists. One list talks about doing it twice, before you do that particular action and after. And then the second list on the right talks about just doing it after you do that activity. So let's look at the first list that talks about doing it both before and after. So if you're going to start cooking and preparing food, the first thing we do is wash our hands with the soap and water at the kitchen sink. After you do whatever you need to be doing and you eat your food, make sure you wash your hands. If you're taking care of somebody sick, or if you are sick and you have any open wounds, any open cuts, you got an ulcer from your diabetes or ulcer from poor circulation, and you're taking care of it yourself or taking care of someone who has that, make sure before you begin to do whatever you're going to do, you're going to change the dressing, you're going to use some saline on it or whatever the doctor has given you to apply on that ulcer or that wound, then you want to make sure you wash your hands before you start, because you can bring bacteria into that wound. And make sure after you finish it that you wash your hands. And most of us are now using gloves to do that. Now you see this because of COVID-19, and I still see people doing this, even though, you know, COVID-19 has been ramped down for at least right now. I went to the gas pump and I saw a couple of people had gloves on. So they were practicing this particular third item, which says, if there's an area that a lot of people touch frequently, such as door handles, gas pumps, or shopping carts, then you want to make sure that you're using something before you touch it and after you touch it. And if you notice, you go to the supermarket today, they haven't taken any of those wet wipes down or the hand sanitizers. They're still up. So use them. I usually just get one of the wet sanitizers that they have, the wet wipes, and I usually wipe down the handle that I'm going to touch. And I actually hold on to it as I shop. I keep that wet wipe under my hands and just walk around the supermarket, and then I dump it out and get a new one after I leave the supermarket. If you're wearing contact lens at all, and I don't know how many of you might still be using contact lens, make sure the eyes, if you get an infection in your eye, it can become serious and it can affect your vision. So if you're using contact lenses or have to put drops in your eyes because you have glaucoma or have some other kind of eye condition, you want to make sure before you start messing with anything to be put in your eyes that you wash your hands before and after you put anything in your eyes. And then on the right, I think we're used to the ones on the right, which is pretty easy. We use the toilet, whether we use it to do number one, urination, or number one and two, or just number two. Whenever you use the toilet, or if you're helping with your grandkids or helping with someone who might be sick and wearing depends, you have to help to change that. Make sure that you're washing your hands with soap and water after that process. Some of us have pets. We've got a cat or a dog. Most of us, those are the two types of pets. You may have other types of pets. Make sure that if you're playing with your animal, etc., and you go before you go to another task, make sure that you're washing your hands. Blowing your nose and coughing or sneezing, all those things require that you wash your hands. You can use a hand sanitizer, you can use a wet wipe at that point. Any of those things will work if you're using it on your nose. Handling your garbage, you have to take your garbage out. Either put it in a bigger bag, take it out to the back, take it out of the house, take it to incinerate in the apartment if they have such a thing. Make sure when you come back into your apartment, come back in the house, you go right to the sink and wash your hands. And if you notice, most recently, I know at least over the past year, a lot of pet food had recalls because they had bacteria growing in them. And there was a recall from the companies that made those pet foods. For that reason, they're recommending, if you're going to handle pet food or pet treats, when you finish giving that to your pet, make sure you wash your hands. So we've finished talking about washing. Are there any questions about just the washing process itself? Any questions at all? Okay, well, let's now talk about the next one, which is cleaning. Talking about washing fruits and vegetables, and I learned a little bit on this one here. I always wash my meat. I don't know about y'all, any meat at all, I've always washed. I've never washed eggs. I didn't even know people do wash eggs and shouldn't. I've never washed eggs, but I've washed my meat and I still do. Because that's how I grew up. I grew up in a foreign country where sanitation wasn't great. We were taught to wash your meat, dry it, soak it down in lemon juice or lime juice, and then let it soak for a while and wash that off and then dry your meat. The recommendation in the United States is not to wash your meat and poultry or eggs. And the reason they're saying not to wash meat and poultry is because it can spread germs, harmful germs around the kitchen. So if you decide that you're going to wash your meat and poultry, please don't wash the eggs. They're full of bacteria. Do not wash those eggshells. Leave it alone and just wash your hands after you crack an egg and finish that particular process. Wash your hands. But if you're not going to wash meat and poultry, you have to make sure that things are clean. So I wondered how many of you are washing your meat and poultry before you cook it? Anybody?
Dr. Mundey, I've washed my poultry. I don't eat a lot of red meat, but I have washed like my chicken wings or a whole chicken.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, how do
Washed
how-
all my
Mine
meat.
too.
All my meat. I've been doing it for years. They got sick by cross-contamination because we were taught how to clean and disinfect when we would have, and I think sometimes that's why people are getting sick because they're not washing their meat.
I think so too. I think so
The
too. But
Monday.
I
May I
wash
ask
my
you what
cattle
country you're
dry.
from?
Hmm?
What country you from?
I'm from
Originally.
I'm from Guyana.
Okay, so I'm a
Okay.
part of the Caribbean. I'm Juliet, and I was brought up to do that. And I must say this, when Jamaican went to England, they taught them how to wash their chicken and their meat. And my son is telling me that's Asian, I must not wash it. I have nothing to lose to wash it, right? So I continue to do
I
so.
wash mine. Absolutely.
I am too. I'm pretty convinced. After getting sick behind eating, I decided after I read all of this about 4 months ago, I said, you know what? I keep washing. These people keep telling me don't wash. I'm going to try it. And dang, if I didn't get sick, no way in hell I'm going to ever not wash my meat and poultry.
I too. I
Dr.
wash
Mundey,
mine too and pat it dry before I do anything with it.
Dr.
Exactly.
Mundey,
Mhm.
I too am from the Caribbean and we were taught to wash our meat.
I'm
Yes.
from the United
Before you
States of
cook.
America, and I wash my meat and sterilize my kitchen.
I
Yeah.
think it's our
At the evening,
community, no matter where they're from.
washing meat.
Yeah.
I sterilize my house and all before I even cook.
Right.
Mm.
I think if you're washing your meat, you're keeping the area that you're doing the work in, you
Yeah.
make sure it's
The
clean,
whole
and,
kitchen.
and you're washing your hands. I think it's, it's a good
Mhm.
practice. It's a best practice. So I'm not great. I'm not feeling this recommendation, but I wanted to share with you because the
Yeah.
youngsters will tell you that. They're going to tell you, what do you do? You need to just explain it to them and how you're making sure that you're not cross-contamination.
Right.
Mhm.
Fruits and vegetables, fruits have skin of the fruits, I thought I was doing a good thing because I stopped eating the skin of apples and peaches.
No,
I used
no,
to
no,
love it.
no.
Yep, I stopped eating it because of the pesticides. So I usually cut that off. I usually peel it. I peel it for my grandkids, etc. But now make sure before you peel, if you're going to peel the skin of the fruits that you want to take that off because of the pesticides, make sure that you're rinsing that off.
First,
Put
yeah.
in the sink in water.
Warm water.
Yeah.
Rinse that off real good.
Yeah, I
And
don't
then
need no dishwashing, just warm water.
yes, that's all warm
And I
water.
do mine under running water because every time you scrape against it, the peel is contaminating what you're using. So I just rinse it, continuously rinse it off.
Exactly.
No,
And sometimes I even
no.
I
So
still
many.
even keep the water running just a little tad and peel it under the water.
After I wash it under water, I pat it dry with a paper towel, and then I eat my apple skin and all.
What I use is I use white vinegar. I put it in
No,
strawberries or blueberries in a bowl, and I put water on top of that, and then I put some squirts of white vinegar, and it takes off a lot of the residue with white vinegar.
Because you know, like the vinegar that we buy in the bottle at the store is not very strong. So
no,
you
it's
don't
not.
have to worry about
It's the 5% one.
That's only 5%. So that's the best one to use on food. Just use that. It takes care of that little bit of acid in there. Will take care of quite a bit of the scum. So that's a good process. So you soak it in the vinegar if you'd like to, and then rinse it off. Okay. All right. Now this last one, I'm not for this one either. It said produce labeled as pre-washed does not need to be washed again. This
I
is
wash
from the
everything.
Department of Agriculture. I don't care what it says. I'm washing that stuff.
Me too.
Before I wear it.
Me too.
Yeah.
Never, yeah.
You have to, because you have to pick through, especially greens, because they have all these stems and pieces that don't look fresh. So I
It still had worms on them.
Yes.
Yeah.
They don't wash
Get
it.
the worms.
Look at
Yes,
all the people.
Dr. Mundey.
And
Yes.
also you should wipe your canned goods down before you use your can opener to open them.
True.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Think about it. If you get
down
vegetables that
inside, because you don't know who touched it in the store.
Exactly.
They have rodents that run in the store all night long.
right.
They
On
know,
top
and
of
you don't
canned
know
goods,
how,
everything.
yeah, you don't know how long it's been on the shelf. I agree with you. That's a great piece, you know, wipe all your cans down before you use that can opener and open them up.
Yes. But think
Yes,
about
before
at the
you open
farmer's
it up.
market. How many hands had touched the food at farmer's market though?
I watched that.
Yeah, you wash that, but in the safe way too. If you get
And
the fresh
safe way,
Yes,
yeah, because people touch it and put it back.
I've
Yes,
seen people take their fingers and tap the meat, you know, press it on the meat.
Dr. Mundey, when you was talking about washing your hands, they used to tell us sing the ABC song.
Yep.
That was easy too.
Oh yeah, that's
And-
real easy.
Oh,
That's
chapter 1 to 26.
There you go.
1 to 26, you want to be a big
You
girl.
know what I hate when people come outside from like your kids or grandkids, they run right to the refrigerator.
No,
Not like, no, you wash your hands.
Not in my house.
And they look at you like, oh,
That's the
yeah.
first thing. Wash your hands.
No,
Yes, and
wash
some
your
people,
hands.
I have seen people come out the bathroom and don't wash their hands.
Oh,
Go back in and wash it.
I have too. I've seen plenty of people do
So
that.
doctors
No,
and nurses to do it if you don't know.
They
Yeah.
go to the
I
bathroom.
remember, I'm gonna
Tell them
correct
to
them.
go wash their hands. These are adults.
Wash your
Mhm.
hands in the
Yeah,
bathroom,
yeah.
not at the kitchen sink.
That's
Right.
right.
Then you
That's right.
have people washing their
Bathroom.
hands. They washing their hands and they clean hands. They take and turn the faucet off, the dirty faucet off, or they open the door and they they've already
They
contaminated
just
them hands
right there.
again.
Use
But
some
I
paper.
have seen people use the bathroom, you know, like outside the men. You know how
Oh,
they use the
Do you
bathroom in
guys,
the
do you
corners,
cook?
and
Like
they
when I
go
cook,
shake people.
I wipe
They go
things down
shake
as I
people
cook.
hands. They go shake people hands, and I be looking at them like them people don't know they just use the bathroom and they ain't wash their hands.
Have you
So
ever,
you gotta be
ladies, have you
careful
ever
with them
seen
men.
those with the
Okay.
gloves on? Like the workers that work in the kitchen and they, they should take off the gloves before they go to the bathroom. And
Or
they
the
Yeah.
go to the
register. Or the
bathroom with the
register.
gloves on. I had to
Yep.
stop one day and said they have a lot of gloves. You should not reuse the
That's
gloves
right.
after you use the bathroom. So
No,
you
just
Mhm.
you
like a
have to be
doctor can't
careful.
reuse them.
Yep.
Even the
They
Replace
shouldn't,
register.
but they're too lazy to take it off and replace it.
And get a new one.
Right.
Get new
That's
You
gloves.
how
can't
we get a
serve
lot
me
of
then bye.
germs.
I'm gone.
But what
How we
about the
get a
ones
lot of
that
germs.
make your food, and then with the same gloves, go to the
Mm.
register and cash you out,
Bring it
and then
up.
Oh yeah.
go back
All them
and start
germs.
preparing food again.
So
Mm-hmm.
you
I
better
would
be,
not
so
me because
you
I'm
better
not eating
be,
in there.
so you
Right.
better, so you better be careful where you eat.
Yeah.
You
That's
better
Right.
be
right.
careful where
I
you
was
eat,
I can't
because the
fix it. I'm
only
not
thing
gonna
you
eat
can
it.
guarantee is what you have prepared.
That's
Doesn't
right.
That's
guarantee it.
that's
So you
that's
take
that's
a
just
chance,
like
you take a
uh,
chance and you do the very best that you can.
Yeah.
but the
Because of time,
No, I
we got,
take
transportation too.
we got to move
Transport.
on because of time. So let's, before we move on, I want you to remember that the number one thing we can do to prevent food poisoning or foodborne illness is what?
clean.
Clean. Wash your
Wash your
hands.
And
hands and
Clean
wash
wash
your
Wash
everything.
your hands.
wash your
And wipe
hands.
and
Clean the
wipe down.
counter
Your
off.
Wipe
hands is
down.
the
Wipe
number
down all your
one
Clean the
food,
thing
Wipe
that
cookies,
you
down.
can do.
counters.
Because you get
Okay?
on this public
Lights all down.
transportation, you get on public transportation, same thing. You need some
Yeah.
wipes to wipe,
Okay,
you gotta
The
touch
seats,
things for
all
real.
that.
let's
That's why I
move
Yeah.
keep
on.
them little package of wipes in my pocketbook.
Yes,
The
yes.
ones you
Okay,
get 8 in the pack from the dollar store.
Yeah.
Okay, let
Yeah.
her
Yeah.
Yeah.
finish,
I got
please.
plenty of
Let her
those.
finish.
okay, ladies, we've got to move on. Otherwise, we're not going to finish. I want us to have a good discussion about the entire process. So we're on the second one. We talked about cleaning. The second one is the only S in those 4 words that I want you to remember. The second one is separate. Don't cross contaminate.
No,
So
it
if
didn't.
you're cooking, you're in the kitchen preparing food, try to have a separate plate or cutting board, whatever you're going to use for your produce, your veggies, etc. A separate board for if you're cooking any kind of meat. And if
Yes.
you're using eggs at all, a separate one. The reason that eggs keep coming up, eggs are the reason that we get salmonella. I'm sure you've heard that word. It's a
Yes.
bacteria that we can
Yes.
get. And a lot of it comes from eggs. Either we prepare potato salad and we don't keep it in the refrigerator. We have it outside sitting around. That can cause that salmonella to grow. The salmonella could be on the eggshell itself. So that's why you want to make sure that you're washing your hands, you're separating these two when you get ready to use it. Okay? Now you talked about
Okay.
this one. I didn't pay a lot of attention to when I go to the supermarket, but it makes good sense. When you're shopping, how do you put your groceries in your shopping cart? Make sure you separate
Shopping
them.
carts are dirty.
Doing separate where the part you're putting all your raw meat that you're buying and your poultry, etc. Separate those from the other foods, your veggies, your packaged foods. Separate it out because you can cross-contaminate those things if you keep them all in the same spot. So that's important. It made me wonder, I've never really paid close attention. If the checker who's checking me out is bagging my food, do they know to put all my meat, poultry, and stuff in one bag?
Yes,
I
suppose.
thought about it because I go to the self-check. Now, I do that a lot, but I also sometimes use the checker. I'm gonna have to pay more attention. And if I don't see them do that, I'm gonna tell them up front, can you please put my meats in one bag?
Yeah.
You know, when I put my stuff on the counter to be checked out, I always separate it myself.
Yeah.
I do that too. I do that too. So it'll be interesting to see as you observe when you go to the supermarket, see how they actually pack your stuff in your bags. Make sure.
And sometimes I put my
separated.
meats in the plastic bags, them little plastic bags. I put my meats in them. You know, the bags that you put your
Yeah,
garlic and all that.
the vegetable plastic bag.
And I know Costco has those plastic bags right there. And then you go in the supermarket, go ahead and grab a few when you get in the door. You see them in the veggie area. Grab some and put the meat in there. And that's a great idea. Okay. Now, freezing meat. How long after you buy any kind of meat or poultry or seafood, you want to cook it, but you're not sure you're planning on cooking it today, or you're going to cook it tomorrow? When do you plan to use it? Some people, if they're not going to use it right away, put all of it in the freezer. Some people figure, okay, I'm going to use it in a couple of days. I don't want to go through thawing it out again. I'm going to put it in the refrigerator. What's your practice? Anybody?
Well, I separate mine, especially poultry, and put them in freezer bags and put them in the freezer. But around my house, it doesn't last that long in the freezer because my family's here all the time, so I'm cooking a lot. So. But I usually put everything in the freezer, separate it and put it in the freezer.
Yeah, that's what I do too. I separate all my meats and stuff like that and put them in Ziploc bags.
I do too.
Dr. Mundey.
Yeah, I do too.
Dr.
But I
Mundey.
noticed, yes. Go ahead.
Also, to add to that, we need to think about the meats we had in the freezer already, and some of that meat needs to be used before we use up the fresh meat.
Yeah,
and
freezer burn before it get freezer
the
burn.
important thing is how long should the meat be in the freezer before you use it up.
Exactly. And you know, if you buy meat in most of the supermarkets, Costco, etc., they actually have a date on it. It'll say used by, or it will say freeze by. They use different terms. If you want to make sure that you follow the instructions there, because they're trying to protect you and to protect themselves. They're telling you, use this meat up by a certain date. Believe me, I hear you, because I've gone in my freezer there and I've had to throw meat out. I'm like, oh, I didn't even know this was in there. I had it a whole month in there. I had to throw it out. I was scared to eat it when I look at the date they told me use by. So
you know what, Miss Mundey?
Well, you know what?
You have to date it. You have to date it when you
Miss
put it. You
Mundey.
have to date it when you freeze it.
Yeah.
When you date it when you freeze it, then it'll be clear. You know what's old and what's new.
But you know what, Miss Mundey? Sometimes people, you know, when they put meats down somewhere and they don't want it, and the cashier, I mean not the cashiers, the people come around and pick the stuff up, put it back, or even they carry it back to the back, and they'll change the date on it because it's been sitting there for a minute. They still want to sell it, so they put another date on it. We don't know that. We go buy it because it's a new date on it. You know what I'm saying? Then when you get it home, you open it, cook it, it's brown looking inside.
Yeah, getting ready to say, you can tell by the color. You can tell by the color of it that if it's not good or not.
Right.
Let's talk about.
You know who does that? Safeway does that. It looks it looks pretty outside, and when you take it home, it's a different color. Now you don't want to go back out there because your plan was to cook it. So I've had experience with Safeway there. Don't want to call them out, but I don't buy meat from Safeway anymore. They do that. They repack it.
You can get bad meat and poultry anywhere. So
Yeah,
I want you to do the smell test. If I walk into a supermarket and as soon as I hit the door, I smell some bad, I walk out. I've done that at the Giant several times in my neighborhood. And I tell them, I call the man, I go down to the manager. You all got bad meat in here. You all need to clean this up and get rid of all that bad meat that you're trying to sell to people.
That's
I
right.
did that
That's
before
right.
too. I did
And,
that before too.
and Dr.
You go in the
Monday,
store and the
and
store don't smell right, it's best to ask the manager to come up to the front and talk to you.
I got a
Then
question.
after that, you leave on out because there's something in there that's not smelling right.
How
and
do you
Dr.
do the
Monday,
smell taste?
Yes.
Dr. Monday, I know what you're saying about the smell, because
Yeah, how
there's
do you do
something
the
that some of
smell
us cannot
test?
see.
Yeah.
So we
Right.
go by the smell.
I do
And
too.
that is a serious thing, what you're saying there.
Yeah.
Right.
Now,
So-
also, what you could, the next thing that you want to smell is, I don't care how good the meat looks. Before I cook it, I take it out. If it's thawed out, and then I do the smell test again. I smell the daggone meat. I'm like, oh, it smells bad. I throw it right in the trash can. I said, I just have to take that off.
How do
too,
you
Miss
do the
Monday. I
smell
do too.
test?
Yeah.
How do you do the
So,
smell test?
yeah. So if they sell you something bad and you didn't pick it up when you got it and you get ready to cook it, smell that meat.
No, I'm not
touch
on
it.
mute.
If that meat feels a little bit slimy, out it goes. Don't eat it.
No.
That's
So how do
that's
you?
why I shop where if something is bad and it's because of them, they will take it back and replace it or refund it.
Yeah.
And
Right.
then too, you gotta watch out. I mean, like going out to these fast food places too. They do that too. They put up have you eating bad food. So you gotta be careful when you go out and eat. And just like toiletries, I went to a couple of places and you went to use the bathroom, they had no toilet seat covers. I said, what is going on? This is a public place. Every public place should have toilet seat covers.
I've never
Some of
used
them
one.
don't. And you know what
I've
do?
never used one.
I
I've
asked for
learned how to squat.
I asked for the soup. I asked for the
That's the doctor
boss to
talking
come.
now.
And when he comes, I tell him, women should not have to go into a public bathroom and sit on a toilet seat where other women have sat down at. You know?
I've never sat on one before.
Now. That is so
You-
trifling.
If you feel
But
the
you
need
know,
to have one,
sometimes,
air them,
Dr.
them
Monday,
individually and put
Dr.
them in your
Monday,
purse. You will
Everybody
Doctor.
always
talk
have
at
them.
the same time.
Dr. Monday,
Dr.
sometimes,
Monday, I want to know how you do the smell test.
if it smells, well, I can't say wanky, like a funny
The
smell
smell is
that
off.
it shouldn't smell like. The
Smells
fresh
sour.
smell,
You
a
begin
fresh
to get
smell.
that, you begin to get that tinge of a rotten meat. You smell it and it doesn't,
sour
you
smell.
pick it up right away. You'll say,
Yeah.
This doesn't smell
like a
right."
sour
Then
smell.
you
Your
touch it.
chicken doesn't smell like chicken. Your beef don't smell like beef, and your fish don't
Right.
smell like fish.
Exactly.
Okay.
Or if
Okay.
your red meat is turning brown, if your meat is turning brown and it's not a red color, that's when it's going bad.
Just
But
like
they
you
put
Okay.
dye.
tell
They put
can't
they put
see.
dye in on the beef now.
They can't
And
see.
Yes.
Another thing, Dr. Monday, like things in the store, the product, you can also call that company. And they'll refund, they give you coupons, they give you, they might give you a whole case of something. The tuna can, bent or whatever happened. You call them, they do that. Because I have a girlfriend, she does it all the time. The bread, if it's molded when she got it home, it was
You can
good. She
tell
called
when
the factory.
bread is getting ready to spoil too easy. The smell of bread, you can tell when bread is not fresh.
Yeah. And you don't know until you get
Even
home and
before
you
it be
go
molded,
get some
you can tell it's
slices.
not fresh.
Yeah.
Can we get back on track? I think Dr. Monday would like to finish her
Yeah, this is
finish her
Teresa.
slide.
This is
Okay.
Teresa.
All
I
right.
would like for us to just allow Dr. Monday, and then we could take hands, if there are any suggestions, comments, whatever.
Or put it in the chat. If you can't put it in the
Yes.
chat, so when we get to the end, we can look at Teresa will help us to look at all of the questions you have.
Yeah.
We can do them together. We haven't already talked about it, okay?
Yeah. Yeah.
So we talked about clean, which means washing our hands and everything else after that. We've talked about contamination, separating. Now let's talk about the third one, which is cook, and cooking at the right temperature. Now, you know, I never have used a thermometer. Again, I grew up in a third world country. It's hot over there. We just cook everything. We almost kill it. I never used a thermometer, but I am learning slowly but surely when it's important to use a thermometer. So what I want you to learn is this. There are two temperatures, 40 degrees Fahrenheit and 140 degrees Fahrenheit. Those, anything that you are storing between those two temperatures, that's the time when the bacteria is most active. It's more active to grow. What that means is you have to store below 40 degrees or above 140. Well, what does that mean practically? What it means is that we got to refrigerate stuff and make sure our refrigerator is below 40 degrees. We've got to, when we cook stuff or bake stuff or grill stuff, we have to make sure it is above 140 degrees. For that reason, we probably need to at least have some kind of thermometer. So let's talk about it. Use a food thermometer to be sure that your food is safe to eat. When you think your food is done, and for me, I'm talking about cooking in terms of baking, grilling, broiling. If you're doing any of those, use a food thermometer. Stick that thing in the thickest part of the food to make sure, and make sure you're not touching bone, fat, or gristle, because it's not going to give the right temperature. But get you a food thermometer. You can get them real cheap. The supermarkets sell them now because that's part of cooking now. Or you can get them at, I don't know who loves to go to Home Goods. That's one of my favorite places. I can pick up something real cheap there. But pick up a food thermometer that you can use. We're used to using a food thermometer when we cook what? Turkey. When we cook turkey at Thanksgiving, most people use a thermometer. Yeah, because it's so big. So we use it. But in some of the other foods that we cook, we don't think about using it. I saw my sister-in-law using it when she was cooking salmon. She put a big salmon in the oven and she pulled out her thermometer. She says, I don't want to overcook it and I don't want to undercook it. And she used a thermometer to test it. I've never used a thermometer to cook salmon, but it made sense to me having watched her, because I've always cooked mine too long and mine ends up being a little too dry. But she used that thermometer and hers was nice and juicy, but it was also cooked above the 140 degrees Fahrenheit that is recommended. Now I learned this part about microwaving. When you microwave your food, don't shortchange it. You take something frozen out of the freezer that you're going to microwave, follow the manufacturer's instructions. So make sure you know when the manufacturer instructions for use minutes, some of them say that. That's to make the temperature in the inside of that package to get to the 140 degrees or above. So don't ignore that, letting it sit for 1 or 2 minutes or whatever they say on the package instructions. Make sure you're letting it sit, okay? Now when you're grilling, I just came back from a family reunion cookout out in Maryland on Saturday. Now, I cooked some curry chicken and I had it in a slow cooker. When I got there, I plugged the slow cooker into the wall. But what I noticed is that people brought a lot of food. They didn't have any way of keeping it warm. And you know how family reunion picnics go. They last for hours. We started about 11 o'clock and everybody didn't leave the park till about 6. That means for 7 hours, food was sitting, not warmed up or anything. They may have brought it hot, but to sit for 6 hours outside without any temperature, no ice on the potato salad, no warmer to keep the food warm above 140 degrees, the bacteria is growing. It's just by the grace of God or somebody that all of us don't get sick. Some of us have good immune systems, but those who don't, it may make us sick. So I'm just eating what I brought because after I saw that food sitting out, I'm like, that's okay. I'm gonna skip that because I don't know where it's been. I don't know how long they cooked it, how long they rode around it within their car. I'm not eating it because I can't afford to get sick. So I had to look at it from a very personal standpoint. So marinating food in the refrigerator. Make sure if you want to season your food really well so that it can do that, marinate it, put your spices and seasonings on and put it back in the refrigerator. Do not leave it out on the counter because again, that bacteria is growing because it's at room temperature. That's when the bacteria grows. Also, a lot of us, fix a marinade sauce to put on our chops or barbecue or whatever we're eating or turkey burgers. And we want to have a little bit of it ready to put on after it's cooked. Make sure you keep that separate. Do not reuse marinade that you've used to marinate raw meat. Keep a little bit separate out so when it's all done and you've cooked it, that you've got some fresh marinade that has not touched raw meat. All of our refrigerators now, I know if you've got a fairly new refrigerator, your refrigerator is so computerized now, the technology, that you should be able to see what your temperature is. It should be set at 40 degrees or below. Mine says 36, and that's typically where most computerized refrigerators with the computer temperature, that's where it shows. If you don't have that, they all come with a thermometer that hangs inside. Check the thermometer, make sure it's set to 40 degrees or below. Your freezer, of course, should always be at 0 degrees or below. And you can test it by looking, if you keep some ice in there, is the ice hard? If the ice is melting, it's not at 0 degrees or colder. So that's a good, easy way to look and see if your freezer is at the right temperature. Never leave perishable food for more than 2 hours. And this is your food is going to be, you put it out. United States Department of Agriculture recommends that within 1 hour, you do something to it. Put it in the refrigerator if that's needed to be done, or put it back on the stove, or put a burner on the it so it can heat up to get above the 140 degrees. Now this next one was interesting to me because I never really paid that much attention. If you have leftovers and you want it to be refrigerated because it's a little warm, use a shallow container versus something that is real deep. I always use the deep ones because I wanted to have enough space in my refrigerator to put everything that I needed to. But they're recommending if the food is a little bit warm, then put it in a shallow pan so that it can cool off promptly and it doesn't cool off everything else that you have in your refrigerator. Okay. Now there is a safe storage time chart almost to the just download the app on your iPad. And if you want to know how you should store something that you bought, you can go right to the app, put the name in of whatever you're trying to find out, and it will tell you how long you can store it outside, what temperature it should be stored when, if you decide that you want to keep it. Okay? The one thing I want you to remember about chilling, which was that last C that we just did about chilling, is that freezing something or putting it in the refrigerator, it doesn't kill bacteria. It literally freezes bacteria. It stops them from growing. That's an important fact. So that when you take it out to eat it or cook it, that's why you need to make sure that you're using the right temperatures. So if you're going to cook it, remember you got to kill the bacteria, because the bacteria was just sleeping. It wasn't growing, but it's still there. You want to cook it at that right temperature to kill all the bacteria. Now here is what I'm talking about, where you have some information about food keeping. FK, look at this reel right on the left-hand side in green. There's an app called Food Keeper, FK. United States Department of Agriculture developed this app so that you can go on there and it tells you how long foods and drinks are safe to keep in your refrigerator or freezer. So it answers some of the questions that came up before. I wonder how long I can keep certain meat. So it will help you to keep up with that. The other thing it tells you about food here on the website, and you can download this on the website, is, and I do this for the very reason that they said, if I have to go out and shop and I have to go and I try to go to 2 or 3 places in any given time, save a little bit gas, I make sure I'm going in the same direction. So I plan whatever errands I have to run, I plan it before I leave the house and I make a decision. If I'm going to go to the grocery store, even if I don't have on my list anything that needs to be refrigerated, I do it last. And I learned through a lot of errors that I made. I do that last, so I shop, I don't stop, and I go home. I do everything before that, then go to the supermarket, because sometimes I get there, I don't plan to buy anything that needs to be refrigerated, and then I see something on sale. There's some meat, chicken or something on sale, or yogurt is on sale, or something is on sale that I could use, and I said, oh, now I'm going to get this. But if I didn't plan to do it last, then I would have to postpone another trip that I meant to take. So try to make sure that you're planning as you go out on your errands and stop to get your food last, okay? So you can head straight home. Still, anything that you buy, groceries, leftovers, if you're ordering food and it's being delivered, get it in the refrigerator within 2 hours or within 1 hour if it's very hot. If it's very hot outside and somebody delivered some food to you, you don't know how long it's been out in the heat. Get it in that refrigerator, chill it within the hour if you're not going to eat it all, okay? Leave space in your refrigerator so that the air can circulate between the containers in your refrigerator and in your freezer. I go over to my daughter's place, they got it jam-packed. And they always get mad with me because I go in there, I'm like, nobody's eating this leftover, I'm throwing it in the trash. Clean your refrigerator out. Make sure you leave space for the air to circulate, because in order to keep the temperature where you want it to be, you got to have some space for the air to circulate and bring that temperature there. So make sure you're leaving space for air to circulate between your containers, both in your refrigerator and your freezer, okay? And I think we all do this. If you're bringing cold foods on the go, or you're going on a picnic, or wherever you're going, pack some ice. I bought a bag from Costco that's kind of made for that. And I usually just put a bag of ice in there, or some people just keep an ice chest in their car. And they're going
Yes.
out, they think they're gonna buy something, they throw some ice in there and they head on out. That's a good thing of keeping your stuff chilled whilst you're on the go. All right. Now, we're getting down to so in summary, I want you to remember this because you know what? I have 2 more sessions to do next month, August and September. In one of those sessions, we're going to play some trivia again. This might show up on it. Remember these 4 things, actions that you have to take to be safe with your food. Clean, separate, cook, and chill. I want to remind you, you heard it from Alex, you're going to keep hearing it. Your body runs on food, just like a car runs on gas. That's the fuel for a car. The fuel for our body is food. What we put in our body affects how we feel. It affects how our body operates on an everyday basis. And it also affects our risk for different medical conditions that, believe me, none of us really don't want to have. So it's important to do and practice a lot of the things that we're talking about over the last 9 months. And we will continue to talk about. And I'm hoping that all the things that we've talked about we're not going to remember everything, but I'm hoping that some of these things will resonate with you, become part of your daily habit of how you live every day to keep you healthy in this last quarter of our years. Now, we're ready for questions.
Okay, we'll go with hands that are raised. We'll begin with Carmen. Go ahead, Carmen, unmute, please. And then we'll take Brenda following that.
Okay. Good afternoon, Dr. Mundey. Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
I just wanted to make one comment. I wanted to make a comment. When I buy apples and pears, I put on my brush a little bit of white vinegar and scrub them down. And then I rinse them with almost scalding hot water. And then I rinse them again with cold water.
Okay. Well, you do a magnificent job.
The peelings, you know, the peelings of the apples and pears have a lot of nutrients in them. And I don't want to lose those nutrients.
I hear you. Yeah. That's a good idea. You have to do the work. If you want to eat the skin, because it adds bulk to your diet also and it helps your GI tract. If you want to eat the skin of those, you got to do exactly what Carmen says.
And also, if when you buy nectarines, like nectarines, and I just thought I'd pass this on, and plums and peaches, what you get, you do the same thing, and you can make a dessert out of them. You cut them up and put them all together.
Yes, it's a great dessert. Just eating fresh fruit is one of the best and the healthiest desserts that you could have.
And also, you can put them on your cereal, on your breakfast cereal.
Yes. That's how you get in what? Your 2 servings of fruit every day, at least 2.
So I just thought I'd throw that out for information.
It was good information, Carmen.
Okay, thank you, Carmen. Our next is Brenda. Go ahead, Brenda.
Yes. Hi, Dr. Mundey.
Brenda.
How are you?
I'm good.
I'm your winning lady.
I know. I know. You do a lot of homework. That's all I can say.
I do. I try. But I want to ask you now, you said that when you go shopping, you know, if you're going to a couple of different places, I have like these freezer bags that you can put like stuff that needs to go in the refrigerator. So does that kind of buy you some time, you know, if you're making a lot of different stops? No, I know you said you need to put your perishables in the refrigerator within 2 hours.
Right, unless within 2 hours, but if it's in the heat. So if it's like it's hot as it is today, it needs to be in the refrigerator within 1 hour.
Okay.
So on a hot day, because the car runs hot, you need to be putting it in the refrigerator within an hour. If it's a cold winter day and it's cool, your car is cold, then you can keep it in for 2 hours. I don't take a chance. I just make it the last stop and I head on home.
Okay. But the freezer, the insulated bags, do that kind of give you a little bit of time?
Yeah, but it doesn't give you a lot of time.
Okay.
Yeah, it doesn't give you, it's not a, put it this way, it's a good attempt if you have no choice.
Right.
It's not a reliable, it's not reliable.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Dr. Mundey.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Brenda. So I see we have an additional 4 questions. We'll take that very last person, the iPad. I don't know who you are. That would be the last person because we're over the clock now, where this time is concerned. So we'll start with Yvonne. We'll take yours, and then we'll go with Loretta, Patricia, iPad, and if you can keep your questions to a minimum.
Thank you so much, Teresa. Thank you, Dr. Mundey.
You're
My
welcome,
question,
Yvonne.
yes, I just finished making some brownies. I'm asking about advice pertaining to maybe baked goods. I'm going to deliver them to the recipient on Saturday. I made these brownies just this morning. Do you think I should freeze them?
I think they need to be refrigerated. They shouldn't need any freezing because you've cooked them already to the required temperature. So I think just putting them in the refrigerator, and then you can take them out in the morning that you're going to deliver it. And so it'll be, have some time to not be so cold if they're going to eat that right away.
Yes, okay, because I often have that question about pastries and baked goods.
Yeah, in general, that's a good rule of thumb. If you cook something, you buy some pastries, it's already, it's already cooked through and through. It can be put in a storage bag or whatever container you want and store it in your refrigerator until you're ready to use them.
Thank you so much for this valuable information. Thank you so much.
Welcome, Yvonne.
Thank you, Yvonne. Our next is Loretta. Go ahead, Loretta. You need to unmute.
Yes, hello everybody, and hi Dr. Mundey. Thanks for everything. I just wanted to share, this was a while ago, I had my hands up, but I guess everybody was talking, so no one got to me, but it was about the cans that you buy out of the store. I have a best friend that bought a 6-pack of beer out of the store, out of the grocery store, Safeway. And when she drank it, she didn't wipe the top off. She had bacteria, so that she like to have died. Yes.
Yes. I mean, thanks for sharing that, because those experiences that you share helps to remind us how careful we need to be, especially as seniors.
Exactly. And that was really devastating to everyone that happened to her, because she went through a lot, because it got all through her body.
Yes.
It was rat urine. Yes. It was the rat urine. Yes. So be careful, everyone. Be careful.
Okay, thank you very much, Loretta.
You're welcome.
Next person is Patricia. Please unmute.
Here's what I wanted to say. Okay, I pulled up something and said, what are the rules for leftovers? And I see right here, leftovers can be kept for 3 to 4 days in the refrigerator. After that, the risk of food poisoning goes up. If you don't think you'll be able to eat leftovers within 4 days, within 4 days. Frozen, it says freeze them right away. Frozen leftovers will stay safe for a long time, October 4, 2022. And it give you a website. So do you agree with that? I pulled that up on my phone.
Sure. Well, those are excellent points. So let's talk about two points you said. The first one
especially if you're a senior citizen and you're not getting you're trying to stretch what you have, because I'm a senior citizen.
Right. One, if your food is thoroughly cooked,
All
you
right.
want to make sure you put it
Uh-huh.
in a container that's
Yeah.
sealed. Make sure the container is sealed. You store
Right.
it in your refrigerator, and 3 or 4 days, it's okay. I usually stop at 3. I usually use the rule of 3. After 3 days, I usually end up throwing. So I try to make sure I'm not going to cook more than about 3 days. Now, the
Yes,
one
that's
thing
what you're
I want
saying.
to make sure you don't do, which some people do because they want to throw away, they sit it in there for 3 or 4 days and then they don't eat it and said, okay, I'll put it in the freezer. That's
Yeah, I
no
get
good. It should
yeah.
be thrown out.
Yeah,
So if you
yeah.
don't cook within the 3 to 4 days, it should be thrown out.
Yeah,
If you
that's what
don't,
I
now, the second part was really important. Since you're a senior citizen, I don't cook every day either. I cook and I cook for 3 or 4 days. I may keep half of my food in the refrigerator and the other half I will freeze immediately. I put it in a container and put it in the freezer. So on the third day, maybe that I'm ready to eat it again, or I might be tired of eating it, so I'll wait for the fourth day. It's already in my freezer because I froze it right after I cooked it, knowing that I'm cooking for 3 or 4 days.
Yes,
So-
because I take blood pressure pills and I take cholesterol pills, and I'm on Lancet, and that's what I'm worried about. How to stretch what I have. Yeah.
Or stretch it out. I would say for you,
Yeah.
if you're cooking 4 days, divide it in half. Put
Yeah.
half and freeze it right away. So you can be assured it's going to be good. Give yourself some hours before you're ready to eat it. Then so you would only have 2 days in the refrigerator because sometimes we get tired of it or we're sick. We don't
That's what I do.
eating it. And we don't get to it.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
let it waste. Freeze half
Yeah, I
of
don't
it.
want to let it waste. Yeah, that's what I usually do. As soon as I cook something, whatever I had left, I throws it up in the freezer. But this was a coincidence. Telling you soon, you don't eat, put it right in the freezer. Yeah, I agree with that.
Put it there. If you're going to prepare for 4 days,
Yeah, 3 to
separate
4.
it in half
Yeah,
and put half
yeah,
right away, freeze it. Okay.
yeah. All right, thank you.
Thank you,
All right,
Patricia.
thanks a lot.
We'll go with the
Oh.
last person. iPad, I don't know who you are. Can you please unmute and identify who you are? iPad, you've just muted yourself. I'm asking you to unmute. Say who you are.
Good afternoon, Shalia Evans. Can you hear me?
Yes, your name is?
Shalia Evans.
Shalia Evans. Thank you, Shalia. Go ahead. You have a question for Dr. Mundey?
Well, I'm making a statement here. Now, previously I went to the market and they don't have paper bags, all those different things. But getting to my point is when I buy meats from them, I generally have them eliminated. I'm not sure whether I use the right term or not, but I'm sure, Doctor, you know what I'm talking about, how you take and put it in the strong plastic and seal it.
Yeah.
Basically, that's what I have them do with my meats so that when I get home, I won't have to worry about putting them in bags or transferring here and there. That's what I have them to do.
Okay.
Is that a safe thing to do?
Yes, it is. I know a lot of people, and I've been telling my children about it. A lot of us save those bags. I'm not sure what people are using them for, but you want to be very careful about what you're using some of those bags that you get from the supermarket and other food stores. If you're using it to put trash in, it's probably okay, but don't use that bag to take back to the grocery store and buy more groceries, because those bags may be contaminated. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, but I'm talking about how you put the meat in, set it, and it's this machine that you slide the bags under and you suppress it and take all the air out of the
Yeah,
plastic.
I know what you're talking about. Yes, and you can just freeze that. I don't know if that's I know what you're talking about. They sell them in the store. It has a little bit of a machine. You seal it, and it's
Yes.
air out, which is supposed to prevent a lot of bacteria from growing. Plus, it also takes up less space. And then
That's
you can,
correct.
that should be fine. That's no problem with that. But I
Okay.
was just mentioning about the shopping bags because I forgot actually to mention that a lot of us do save those bags, use it for trash, but don't reuse it to take back to the store to get additional groceries. So you don't have to pay the 5 cents. You know, you want to get
Okay.
something that you could wash. That's why they sell a lot of cloth bags now. A lot of people are buying the cloth bags and washing them, throwing them in the laundry, hot water, and reusing them instead of using the plastic bags back to the store because they're charging now for it. So just be a little bit, careful about that. All
Okay,
right.
thank you. Thank you.
So let's give Dr. Mundey, thank you for her dedicated time, such great
Thank you.
information that we all can utilize today.
All
Such
right.
important information.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Monday.
Meanwhile,
You're
I am
Please don't forget our mantra. Can we please say it at least one time?
Yes.
Better. Our mantra for a healthier me, eat better, keep moving, and be good to me.
Yes.
You gotta have something that helps you to keep going. And I'd like you to remember these. All right. Take care. I'll see you next month.
I have a great one.
Dr. Monday. Thank
You're
you.
welcome. Take
Have
care.
a good one. Have a good one, everybody.
I started the polling. Please don't leave. Please don't leave. I started the polling. Please access the polling right now.
I see it. I see
Give
it.
us your input. This is how we keep Dr. Monday coming back based on your response. And I appreciate you taking the time.
Late.
If you're not sure how to get your polling activated, look for the more icon on the toolbar. Tap somewhere on your iPad, get the toolbar up.
Teresa, put me in. I want to vote for her, please.
I can't do that because I can't access that, but I'm sure it will be okay. Mrs. Duckett, if you're, I
All
hear
right, thank you.
Yeah, but personally, I can't do that from my end. Okay.
I hit submit, but not doing anything.
Right. So again, scroll up when needed because there are 4 questions. So if you
4 questions.
There are 4. So go all the way, scroll up to get all 4 in, and then hit done. And so we can get a very good results, and we can share that with Jackal so that it can keep the rolling to bring in speakers like Dr. Monday.
Teresa,
Yes.
Teresa, I'm trying to scroll up, but it's not moving.
Not either.
Put your finger on the actual poll results and move it up. Move it up.
Teresa, I don't see my my survey.
Okay, so if
It's
you're not
coming up.
tap on your screens anywhere on your screen until you see the Zoom toolbar.
The Zoom, okay.
Toolbar with
Oh,
all
now
the
it's moving. It's moving now.
Then once you find that, I want you to look for the more icon, which is there's 3 tiny dots to the far right. It says more. Tap on more.
Okay, I got it.
All right, and then you should see the polling.
Okay.
Yep, keep going. We've got 33 in so far out of 53 that stayed on. If we can get them all.
Michael, check the chat.
I could say 75, but I come in late.
That's okay.
I said 50. It was very informative, and I thank you.
After your polling, you can leave once you've submitted it, of course.
Okay.
you and have a good day.
Thank you.
And I'm trying to get it, but I can't get it.
Okay, so where are you when you say you're not seeing the polling? Is that what you're saying?
Right.
Did you tap
This is
somewhere
Diane,
on your, did you
this
tap?
is Diane Jones.
Diane. So tap
Okay.
anywhere on your iPad, anywhere on it.
Now I went all the way back to the date and the time. Wait a minute. Okay, now I'm back there. Okay.
Do you see the Zoom toolbar?
Yes.
Do you look for the more icon on it? It has 3 dots.
Okay.
The last icon to the right on your, it should be on your iPad. 3 tiny dots.
Yes. Now I'm going to the,
Tap
okay.
on it. Mm-hmm.
I tapped and nothing's happening.
What? You tapped on those 3 tiny dots.
Yes.
Nothing
I'm at the end. The one lit up is at the end.
So you're saying you tapped on the more icon and nothing happened.
Right. Okay. I'm going back to Zoom. I'm gonna go back up to Zoom.
Yeah.
Okay.
In Zoom.
Now okay. Now you want me to go? I'm going over to the more again.
Go back to
Lord.
more. Don't panic. Just take your time.
Okay.
Take your
Wait a
time.
minute. Okay. Now I tapped on the more.
What do you see?
I see the poll quiz.
There you go. You
now
got it.
Tap it.
Tap it.
Okay.
Answer the first, second question, and then scroll up to answer the 3rd and 4th.
Okay.
All right.
The answer the wait a minute. It said, would you like to learn more about this topic? Should I hit yes?
Yeah, you don't ask me what to do. You need to make that decision.
Okay, but I know. Next first submit. So do I hit submit?
This girl is.
Do I hit submit?
Yep. Once you finish, you completed all 4. Hit submit.
Okay.
She's a comedian.
It says okay.
Oh my.
What percentage of the information was new to you? Okay. 75%. Okay, now okay. It says 4 questions, but 1, 2, okay.
Scroll up so you can get the 3rd and 4th one. You don't see them all, because your iPad screen is so small, you're only seeing the first 2 questions.
Okay, now I'm moving up, but it's not going anywhere.
Try again.
I'm just at the end where it says submit.
Oh, well, then you're at the end then. If you're saying
okay.
submit, you're at the end. You've answered all the questions.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes. But my submit not doing nothing.
Well, did you answer the questions?
Yes. Okay. It says what percentage of the information was new to you, and I put 75%. Then
okay,
the
so
number
that was what question? That was
right.
what?
And the second one was, would you like to learn more about this topic? And I hit yes.
Okay, and then go on to the 3rd.
Okay, now I don't have a 3rd one because my
yes, you do. There's a 3rd one. I
will
want you to your finger and place your finger on the toe, the actual toe frame or whatever you want to call it, and push it like if you're pushing it up slightly.
Okay. Oh, there it goes.
It's there.
Okay. Place the rate.
Comedian.
Okay.
Oh, it's fun. Fun.
Okay, now I'm gonna hit 2. Now
Then go down to the 4th one, go to the next one, do the same thing. The very last one, do the same. And then you hit submit.
Okay. How would you recommend?
So when you come and pick up it.
How would you recommend this person for the friend or family members? Okay.
Now my submit lit up.
There you go. You got it, Diane.
Okay, I'm good.
You're good. See, you can do it. You can do it. All right. I think we've got.
Thank you. Everybody have a blessed day and a good weekend.
Okay.
All right, Diane. You take
Okay,
care.
All right.
bye.
Take
Bye,
care.
Brenda.
Bye.
Bye,
Jennifer.
Okay.
Bye.
So
Okay,
great.
adios, everybody.
All right.
Adios.
Michael, you didn't go to the chat.
Yeah, I did, and I put it in there. I don't know whether you got it or not.
Oh, I got that, but I was asking you another question.
I did answer that question.
Wait a minute, let me see. I'm gonna look. No, you didn't.
I did answer it, but apparently it didn't take. The scene right after he's walking.
Oh, no, I got that. I got
Okay.
that. I was
I know.
asking one of the golden guys.
I told you no in the chat.
Well, it didn't show up. Okay. All right.
Yeah, but it's the scene that is when he's walking down the street. You'll see me. You can't miss me.
Nobody's working for
number. Okay, guys,
always
I think
want
we've
all
come
my
to the
friends'
end of
numbers.
it.
I
I
have all
thank
your
you
friends that
all.
get in touch
Okay.
with surprise party or something.
All
You
right,
always
Teresa.
give everybody your friends' numbers.
Thank you, Miss James. Thank you, Miss
She wanted Mrs.
James.
Rainey number. She wanted
Miss
Nicole.
Cassandra, we hear you.
Excuse me.
We hear your conversation.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Be careful what you say.
I see the poll.
Big brother is listening.
All right, so I'm going to say bye because it's way after my time and I have another appointment that I must meet.
All right.
So
Bye bye.
I'm going to say good night.
Got places to go, people
Wish
to
you all
see,
the
and
best.
things to do. All right.
Thank you, Miss Teresa.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Miss James.
Bye-bye.
Everybody stay
Bye,
cool.
Miss James.
Stay cool.
Bye-bye.
Drink plenty of
All
water.
right.
Thank you, Miss.
Bye-bye.